priority is for families. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Strong families building strong societies. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Marriage between man and woman is what God says. Just follow his direction, that is the only way. Let's build a better Barbados, better families. Happy, secure, safe and stable homes and community.
Greetings everyone. This is your program, Family and Faith Today. Again, my name is Mathurin. I'll be your host. And again, I have my lovely co-host, my wife's sister, Reuel Marville Mathurin.
Hello, everyone.
Sister Reuel, as you usually do with your lovely voice, could you read the mission statement of FFFB?
Yes. Family, Faith, Freedom, Barbados is a registered charity number 1447. We envisage a nation of strong, healthy families, sustainable development, and true freedom. Our mission is to transform our society by promoting biblical truth, fostering strong natural families, building healthy communities, and defending true freedom.
Amen.
Amen.
Now, for those persons who would have listened or viewed our previous program with Sister Rosaline Corbin, she's our host again, and Sister Rosaline would have given us a wealth of information to consider. I'm going to read again from her biographical information. Rosaline Corbin, a born-again Christian, a member of Abundant Life Assembly. She is a trained teacher, adult educator, facilitator, as well as a trainer of trainers. She is also a cross-cultural trainer, having worked as a regional cross-cultural trainer with the U.S. Peace Corps in this capacity. She began her teaching career in 1974 and has been involved in adult education and training since 1982. So she has a wealth of information to share with us. But I'll let my wife begin with the question that she has prepared. Go ahead, Sister Reuel.
Yes.
You're welcome, my dear.
So, Sister Rose, shouldn't any reform in the education system seek to also address the contemporary values and morals in our society?
Interesting question. As I would have shared in the last session, that we here in Barbados, this administration has embarked on what they have described or themed as reimagining education. It was launched by the former Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training. And this is now renamed the Ministry of Educational Transformation. I have to read my notes because I'm new to this new assignment. In terms of the reassignment of the ministry, the renaming of the ministry. And many are saying that the very name shifts us away from traditional Ministry of Education. Now, if you look around the world, most countries that I have researched have a designated, named Ministry of Education. They might attach other areas to it, like youth and culture or technical and vocational, but there are no ministries, as far as I have researched, called the Ministry of Educational Transformation. Mm-hmm. So what is implied by that name? I am not arguing about it. They have sought to explain why the name shift. At the other hand, they still have, it is split now, and there is still a section now devoted to technical, vocational, and continuing education, whatever that is now. But the ministry, getting back to transformation and reform, the Ministry of Education launched that reimagining education, and the sub-theme was a brighter future for every child. Mm-hmm. A brighter future for every child. The assumption is that there has there has to be a redefining of that future. And I get the impression that the future fits the global universal agenda. Coming back to your question on contemporary society and values and morals. And this was launched in October 2023. Now within there are, this is my bias, not Family, Faith, Freedom, Barbados. This tinkering with the fundamentals. They're tinkering with what we know education to be. And they are introducing elements into the curriculum for this reform that, again, parents need to be aware of and keep a tab on. Mm-hmm. So I am seeing now that we have been told by the Prime Minister just yesterday from the floor of Parliament that next Tuesday, what date that is, but next Tuesday when the House reconvenes, that the floor and the time be given to the newly appointed Minister of Education, Honorable Mr. Chad Blackburn, who will speak on education reform. And I would like the public to listen in on that, especially if you have children at school, secondary and primary school. I would also like stakeholders like yourselves and myself to listen in, to know what is being sought to, what they're seeking to reform and to transform. Now, hear the difference.
Reform and transform.
Reform and transform. Now, a definition that is used to speak to education reform is that it is an ongoing, continuous process of modifying public educational system to improve learning. That's reform. Reform speaks to a different
continual
kind of
change.
There is something, and you are looking to improve it. You are looking to make it
better,
amenable, make it workable to a given situation. So reform is an ongoing process. That's why the pillars again, the strengths of our system, teacher training. Teacher training. So you train your teachers, you upgrade their skill set, you encourage them to be techno-savvy, keeping with the times. Now that is for learning instruction. teaching, learning, instruction, you follow me?
Yeah.
That is reform. It is an ongoing process. But when you know, tell me, transform, that suggests everything. Look up David. Hooray for Jane. You don't say that on a Christian channel.
No, we don't. We got to keep those things under wraps. Nonetheless, I want to bring home a statement that you would have made as it relates to just changing everything and just starting different. Now, we want to ask you a question because we are hearing this term over and over again, not only as it relates to education, but it relates to other areas as well. This term, inclusion. Now, I will let you to define for our audience and for us as well in the studio. And your handsome husband is here as well, by the way, just for the audience's benefit. What do you understand by the term inclusion as it relates to educational reform? Because inclusion sounds like an innocent term. You want to include, as you would have mentioned in our previous program, you may have persons with special challenges that may not at present be able to access the resources in the system, and you may want to include them. But on the other side of it, you may have persons who may have, as you would have said again, where a particular agenda is being pushed, and in including these other agendas, you're diluting and taking away from what we as Barbadians are used to as it relates to education. So, Sister Rosaline, what does inclusion mean to you?
The term inclusion,
yes,
is not a new term.
Okay.
When it comes to education. I became involved in special education at Rosaline College, 1978 to 1980. And therefore, when that term inclusion came about decades ago, it pointed, or it was directed towards the inclusion of persons with special needs into the mainstream. That is the universal definition, broadly speaking, for inclusion in education. It came about with meeting and responding to the needs of those students who were disadvantaged because they were intellectually delayed and they were physically challenged. And therefore, what provision do we make for them? And there was a call for them to be included in the mainstream. And at that time, you weren't talking about inclusion. You were saying included in, assimilated into, integrated, brought into. Again, I am saying that the UN gives us a checklist.
Tick boxes.
And we have to tick off. And if you were to go to the UNESCO website on education, within there is a section which speaks to inclusiveness and inclusion within the education sector. And it goes beyond speaking to the inclusion, the bringing into the mainstream of those who have developmental, intellectual, physical needs that challenge their learning and would seek to isolate them or separate them in special units or special classes, incorporate them, include them. But within that same section, you have other areas identified. A child must be included based on gender.
Interesting.
Gender, as I know it, is a social construct which relates to male and female.
Yes.
What makes you male, what makes you female. Your physical characteristics, as well as how society has socialized you as a female,
Understood.
as female, and you as a male.
Understood.
That gender. Also included in there is a separation from gender, which means, as I see it, provision gender is provision of educational opportunities for the male child and the female child. The gender. My concern, I'm taking a little bit further, another discussion, that in doing that, are we seeking to feminize the curriculum? Because at one time, and it still continues in other countries, the female child was disadvantaged in the education system. You're following me?
Loud and clear.
So the curriculum sometimes became feminized to accommodate that child. And I wonder if it was to the disadvantage of the male child
or the male
in
child.
demasculating, is that word?
You're correct. You're on sound ground.
Demasculating the curriculum. And that may be accounting for why our boys are
falling behind.
But within there, separate from gender, there is a section which talks about a child should not be, in terms of equitable and inclusive education, a child should not be disadvantaged based on sexual orientation.
Oh, dear.
What is that?
Can of worms.
Now, our system here in Barbados, we have not, in all fairness, brought that to the table in terms of what is meant of inclusion or inclusive education.
Yes.
But I am seeing that if UN gives us some benchmarks, that will arise at some point, particularly when we have a section of society that strongly promotes diversity in terms of sexual orientation.
Yes.
We had a case at a private high-end secondary school, primary secondary school, where a little boy was transitioning and it was, and I think the government's response at that time was that we don't interfere with the private schools and policies and practices as long as they offer a curriculum that is signed off by the ministry. I'm summarizing. Within there, that section on inclusive education, and we spoke about it last session, last time, on religion. Therefore, you cannot exclude a child based on religion. So these are the other indicators of inclusive education, inclusion. But it started off decades and decades ago, before I joined teaching in 1974, straight out of school. And it was around, but now it has, let's say, broadened its scope. And that is what is meant by inclusion now in this new concept. And it has implications too for values and moral standards within contemporary society, because that inclusive education is responding to contemporary
We're getting back to our first question. And I'm going to give you a moment to catch your breath and the audience to catch their breaths as well. Because my
Thank you.
Because my question for Go ahead, Sister Reuel.
Very simple question. Is there truly a need to reform our educational system?
Reform, yes, if it's an ongoing process for improvement. Reform. That means that should you see a need, for example, we having children leaving school with poor reading skills. There's a need to reform that. Why is this happening? What needs to be done? What intervention needs to be done? We need to separate, and I keep saying, and they are bandying the terms around and using them interchangeably. What are you talking about? Reforming or transforming? Transforming now would be a complete skin up, to use the Belgian vernacular, skin up. And one morning you say you have transformed the system, and now a little boy can come to school wearing a dress.
And identify himself.
Can come to school, I don't know. But you understand what I'm saying?
Clearly,
That is transforming. Transforming means changing it totally beyond recognition.
Correct.
And we have to work out which one, and ask the policymakers, which one are you focusing on? The reforming or the transforming? Do it make sense?
Yes.
You're making perfect sense.
But there's a need. I totally support reforming. If it isn't working, and an intervention can be made for improvement, to alleviate the problem, to respond appropriately, reform. Have I answered your question?
Yes, you did. Quite well.
I am going to let my wife give the closing remarks because we're into the... And it seems as though the time flies so quickly.
So quickly.
Especially when it relates to such wonderful information. But we're going to get that information to the audience because it's important, and Barbadians need to be aware of what's happening in this country, especially as it relates to our young people and our children. Now, Sister Rose, we're wrapping up. Now, I want to use a scenario for you. I want to listen carefully to my scenario. John Brown does not identify himself as male. He identifies himself as female. He comes to school dressed however female will dress. In the new educational reform system, what is your fear concerning John Brown and the system?
In a situation like that, again, it puts John Brown at risk too. In an environment that may not be accepting or ready to have John Brown in that classroom. So John Brown is at risk in that classroom, the whole infrastructure. And we saw the confusion at St. Philip's primary school when they sought to give the signage to the bathroom. It is more than plunking a child with a different sexual orientation into a classroom. Just as you would not take a child, they're talking about inclusiveness, but would you take an autistic child who is developmentally delayed, who is not verbal, who has behavioral issues, who need to be still potty trained? Will you take that child into the classroom and say, come into the classroom without necessary preparation? So why am I going to take that child, John Brown, into the classroom, which the environment has not been prepared for? How are you asking that teacher, who has so many other needs in the classroom to attend to, now to determine, should I call him, her, him?
Exactly.
How do I address that child? How do I ask the other children to address? It's not so easy.
But should it be done? Should that child, John Brown, should he have the opportunity, or because we want to bring clarity to the general public as it relates to what these implications are. Because on the one hand, we have what is being presented as an open system that is inclusive. But on the other hand, as you rightly said, we recognize that if it is totally open and liberal, it is basically self-destructive. So how do we walk that line? How do we balance it? Quickly, because we only have a few minutes remaining.
No child should be left behind. No child, I feel strongly, should be denied an opportunity to learn. I worked in a community center right here in Barbados with the LGBTQ community. And I led the leader of that center to the point the person has transitioned and has a first degree from KFL. But I never subscribed in my eyes, and I told the person, you're male. And I would teach you as a male, any other student you're taught. I would not believe that special provision. You are not physically challenged. You are not developmentally delayed. You are not intellectually delayed. Do not make your environment a place of compromising to accommodate to you.
Interesting.
Don't deny that child that education, but safeguard that child from the abuses of the majority, as well as safeguarding the majority from having to squeeze up and make space, as we are seeing now in society. We have to squeeze up and make space for persons of sexual diversity or orientation, whatever they call it. Mark, I'm saying, do not deny the child the opportunity, but don't ask the providers in that environment to make special accommodation for you, because nothing is wrong with you. That is a decision you have made.
You are perfectly correct. Sister Reuel, wrap us up.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It was a lovely conversation. Go ahead.
Yes, quickly, some closing remarks and a reminder of the Family Faith Freedom Barbados Rally on Saturday, November the 9th at the Bay Street Esplanade 2025. The theme is the changing face of Barbados yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We also have an invitation to sponsors to get on board. We would be grateful for any financial support toward the cost of the radio program and the rally. You can contact us at fffbarbados@gmail.com. fffbarbados@gmail.com. We would like to thank Sister Rose again for such a wonderful time we had. I mean, I can talk to you for days. So I know that the audience as well really appreciated it. And we thank you so much. God bless you.
Each and every one of you.
God's priority is for families. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Strong families building strong societies. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Marriage between man and woman is what God says. Just follow his direction. That is the only way. Let's build a better Barbados, better families. Happy, secure, safe, and stable homes and communities.